In the early 1980s, the price of video cassette recorders, or VCRs, had dropped to a level where your average person could now afford to buy them. As such, this caused an absolute explosion in the home video market. This caused a vacuum, as there wasn't enough content to appease the hungry beast that was this new audience. Mom and pop shops started appearing all over the country to feed that demand, but quickly ran out of mainstream material that people wanted to watch. Savvy producers like Charles Band saw this opportunity to make content that would directly fill the void in the home video market, making films that would fill up the space left by the studio's lack of foresight. Other companies saw this as well and decided this was the perfect medium to release just about anything and everything. There was no barrier of entry. If you could film something, you could sell it to a video store to rent. If you couldn't do that, you could sell it directly to your audience via some ads in the newspapers, magazines, and local TV. We saw a rise in things like video magazines for just about every topic, from pop music to video games to how to do yo-yo tricks. Over time, the market got flooded with an assortment of garbage, largely due to there being absolutely no quality control, similar to what brought down the video game industry a few years earlier. The end result was some of the most bonkers, off-the-wall videos long before the internet. Here's a bizarre handful of direct-to-video offerings from this magical time. None of these are on the IMDb. Do the Macarena Totally Nude! In 1993, the Spanish duo Los Del Rio released the album A Mi Me Gusta. On that album was the single Macarena. It more or less came and went, and it wasn't until 1995 when the song was remixed by the producers the Bayside Boys, which added a new English section and made the song a bona fide hit around the world. The duo did a music video, and the song was a staple in clubs for years. So naturally, what could MVP Home Entertainment do to capitalize on this? Make an hour-long video where naked women dance non-stop to a karaoke version of the Macarena. Do the Macarena Totally Nude. They don't seem to be too sure what the title is, as it's advertised as Do the Macarena Totally Nude, but then the title card is Do the Nude Macarena. I'm thinking the blood wasn't in their brains at the time when they were putting all this together. Here's the flavor text from the back of the box. By popular demand, the #1 dance craze, the Macarena, sensually performed to its original soundtrack, Totally Nude. If by sensually, they mean awkwardly shuffling around and trying to be sexy to quite possibly the silliest idea ever. The video starts off with them in bikinis, but they quickly ditch those for absolutely nothing. When they say totally nude, they weren't kidding. So these 6 dancers just shimmy around for about 45 minutes to the same track played on a loop. They do the dance as a group, solo, upside down, and even on gym equipment. They go back and forth with the girls in their clothing, but for most of the runtime, they are indeed nude. It's a very strange approach to making a buck off of a relatively brief novelty song. Imagine if this was something like, Do the Disco Duck Totally Nude. How to hustle and not get hustled. It's not all about sex on VHS. How to hustle and not get hustled with Jimmy Pretty Boy Floyd Matea. In this video, we learn about hustling and how not to by the self-proclaimed world's best hustler. The host won over 30 major pool titles in 26 years, so he knows what he's talking about. Listen to him and you'll get all the best info from this pool grandmaster. You'll never get hustled again. This is kind of like a low-budget instructional video version of Paul Newman's The Hustler from 1961. The video hit the market and has everything you would expect. Bad pre-MS Paint graphics, a storyline, and hustling. Jimmy tries to cram all of his tips in this 29-minute video, which generally seem to be, get really good at pool and then take strangers' money. In fact, you can get rich this way. He goes over all the beginner mistakes and how to be an up-and-coming pool hustler. He proceeds to leave out what happens when somebody doesn't like the fact that they've been hustled, and they beat you senseless in an alleyway out back and take your winnings. Jimmy shows how he fakes it and plays like a fool as a way to sucker locals in, and then he hustles them for hundreds of dollars. Did people fall for this? If I was playing a pool and somebody wanted to bet against me, I just automatically would assume they're a hustler. Jimmy brings in one of his friends to do a reenactment of the classic hustle. And they talked about the past when they would hustle locals for some easy money between tournaments. And they do reenactments of their other hustles. Hey, you gotta fill up that 30 minutes one way or another. He does drop some tips on how to play pool, but really, most of the video is reenactments of various ways to trick people out of their money. Microwave cooking, toot sweet. Did you ever want to know about how to cook a turkey in a microwave? Well, wonder no more. This is from way back in 1985, when those newfangled microwaves were becoming more common in American kitchens. Here we learn how to experience the excitement, convenience, and speed of the mysterious microwave oven. Our host, Gene K. Durkee, gives the audience 90 minutes of information about how to use your microwave. In that time, we get a full cooking class, 22 recipes, and multiple costume changes. Gene also makes sure to plug her various cookbooks. While Gene is an educated chef, she goes over all her cooking degrees in the beginning of the video. I don't know how happy her instructors would be if they discovered she was using that knowledge to pair with microwaves. So we get lessons on gumbo and soup, poultry and meats, fish and shellfish, vegetables and rice, desserts, and Cajun cooking. After watching this, I still think that cooking shellfish in a microwave is a surefire way to make it taste like rubber. She uses a microwave-safe turkey thermometer, which is terrifying because it means there's more than one person out there who cooks their turkey in the microwave. After an hour in the oven, we get this wonderful turkey cooked in a plastic bag. Doesn't that look delicious? That poor bird died twice. Is it me or does it look like she just cooked a head crab? Eat your garden. This is a video put together by two Australian hippies that are turning their backyard into not exactly a farm, but a sort of garden paradise. All cut to a banjo cover of Highway to Hell. Eat your garden. Create a permaculture oasis. The two hosts, Jenny and Barb, take the viewers on a step-by-step journey through small-scale permaculture, not protoculture, showing the development of beautiful, edible gardens. They sprinkle in little silly bits where a dopey dude is trying to work in the yard and fails miserably. They show you how to build this garden, and even a pond, worm farm, and chicken coop. They talk about the history of permaculture and what we should be doing to make sustainable food for ourselves. All of this is done in a pleasing Australian accent, which makes it easier to listen to. They also bring in some other experts to drop that permaculture knowledge on everyone. The ladies are kind of corny, and while they are passionate about the subject, they don't always take themselves seriously. The video is 54 minutes long, filled with some good info, and it seems like the ladies have their hearts in the right place. It's not terrible, it's kind of endearing to watch. I'd argue these ladies were just ahead of their time considering the volume of do-it-yourself gardening YouTube channels that essentially are doing the same thing that these two are doing. Fishin' with the Biggins. I was joking about this on Twitter X about a month ago, which is the reason for this video. It started me down a rabbit hole of old VHS tapes, and I was reminded of all these weird things that existed at that time. Brought to you by Bennett Marine Video. Fishin' with the Biggins is exactly what you think. A dude who films fishing videos with girls with big tits. Did Al Bundy will this into existence? This majestic tape from 1994 follows Rusty Knife, who goes by the name Razzie, and his bikini-clad co-hosts. Something I wasn't expecting is this actually attempts to tell a story. A very flimsy story, but a story nonetheless. It opens with a voiceover talking about Razzie being a major pro fisherman. Then one of his neighbors with giant 90s implants washes her truck in a wet t-shirt. Maria talks about how she needs to devise a way to get Razzie to show her where his honey hole is.
Swiggin wanted Razzie to take him fishing at Razzie's famous honey hole.
Yeah, his honey hole is his secret fishing spot where he gets all the best bass. After watching a casting session for a Michael Bay film, another girl, Jessie, spends some time in a hot tub stripping out of her bathing suit while thinking about fishing. There's something no one has ever said before. Maria goes to the local bar and is losing a game of pool to Razzie. She then figures out how to do some of her own hustling. She gets Jessie to distract Razzie so she can win. He doesn't have enough money to pay, so she makes him a deal. Take the ladies over to the honey hole. Oh no, what a terrible deal. The ladies get to the honey hole and immediately disrobe so they can go fishing. If you have biggins, this is required by law. Razzie falls asleep and has a few fantasies about getting into a fishing three-way. He then seduces the ladies by putting on his best banana hammock. This was filmed in Texas in 1993 and released on video in 1994. Not a lot else is known about it that I could find. The interesting thing is between the copious amounts of nudity, Razzie manages to fit in a bunch of genuine fishing tips. Now, I'm not a fisherman, I haven't gone fishing since I was like 12, but the information here feels sincere, and like it's coming from someone who is imparting knowledge. He gets your attention with the ladies, and then educates you. Or it's just a way for a guy to combine two things he loves, and make a few bucks in the process. I definitely would have paid more attention in school if this was the delivery. Throughout the video, there was no shortage of innuendo.
A good, stiff, rigid pole is more fun for everyone.
Who's this guy? There's one of the crew. Oops. And now he's hiding. The whole thing's about 35 minutes long, and then the rest of the time is spent with the credits, and then ending with Chester's fishing tips, making the whole thing run for 50 minutes. At the end of the day, they caught 14 fish and 1 trouser trout. In case you think this is a one and done, the ladies are back with the sequels, Striped Bass Mania, Black Bass Mania, and Catfishin' with the Biggins. So there's just a sampling of the crazy direct-to-video market of the 80s and 90s. I wanted to do something a little unique and fun, so I hope you enjoyed it. I have lots more, so if you would like this to be a semi-regular feature, let me know in the comments. I mean, don't act like you don't want to know more about how to have cyber sex on the internet.
And when the pulling and tugging starts, and it usually does,